Been thinking a lot about where my career was going to go and what I was actually interested in. I can't stop but actually ask myself, what's the impact that I made? To be honest with you start to think about, what kind of difference did you make? We as humans are constantly looking for the true purpose in our life. And what ends up happening is that we're searching hard for it. And if I just knew my purpose. I'm here at the UCA conference, which is a conference for chiropractors, and it's their 25th anniversary. It's amazing to be here because it's been a long time since I've been back to a chiropractic conference. Being back here was interesting because it's been 5 years since I was on the stage. The reality is I wasn't speaking this time. I was here to support the UCA. It's their 25th anniversary, which is amazing for an organization that started off with a few people together with an idea 25 years ago, and now it is one of the biggest conference they had. I think they had like 580 people here, which is amazing. And congratulations to the UCA and all the board members and all the effort that goes behind the scenes. I know it's not easy to create something for 25 years. This is the reflection I want to take away from myself, is that it's creating a legacy that matters to people. And oftentimes we don't think that far ahead. Most of our brains don't really project that far unless you can have that visionary to know the impact of what your practice or your life is going to mean to other people's. And this is what I've been reflecting a lot upon. As much as I see the legacy that the UCA has brought to so many people and the lives of so many people in the communities because of indirectly affecting those people, I can't stop but actually ask myself, what's the impact that I made? To be honest with you start to think about, what kind of difference did you make? I got some really amazing feedback. I've met so many old friends and so many old clients. There was one individual who came up to me on the first day and said, "You don't know me, but my name is," I will leave his name out of it. He said that 5 years ago, he just became a chiropractor and he was going to quit. And it was a webinar that the UCA had me present during COVID. It was that webinar he realized that he wasn't playing a bigger game. It was something I said that made him turn it around. And now he's starting his own practice and thriving. That made me feel like, wow, this is exactly what BJ Palmer, who's one of the instrumental person that made chiropractic what it is today, which always have said, you never know how far reaching your words or actions can do. But that is the epitome of what we can do. Your words and actions can really make a difference, but we may never know, because it reminds me of this thing that I have around purpose that I learned a long time ago. As humans, we oftentimes figure out what our purpose in life is. And the thing is, we may never know. The perfect analogy is a bumblebee. A bumblebee is flying around and they go towards a flower and they're sucking the nectar and go back and make honey. They think that making honey is their purpose in life. But the reality is, as humans, as we observe, as an observer of a honeybee, that's not their purpose in life. Their purpose is to actually pollinate and create beautiful flowers across the world. The bee will never know that. It would die not knowing that's its purpose in life. That analogy resonates with me because we as humans are constantly looking for the true purpose in our life. And what ends up happening is that we're searching hard for it, and we just feel like, if I just knew my purpose. And some of you have found that, and congratulations. But some of us are constantly striving and figuring it out. But this analogy reminds me, sometimes you may never know, and you got to be okay with that. And this was a good reminder. I do what I do because I feel great about it. I share my message, and I feel like there's something I can share and hopefully impact someone. If it does, great. And this is what your life is about. Your life is about purpose. You may or may not know your purpose, and that's okay. But you got to do something that's right. What feels right in your heart and in your gut. Life can be as complicated as you want it to be, or it could be as simplistic as you want it to be. And the reality is that we all have a purpose, I believe. We all have this moment where we can actually make a difference in someone's life. But you got to be willing to execute and do the thing that you're built for in that moment. As I'm getting older, I start to realize that what I was driven when I was in my 20s or 30s are no longer what I'm passionate or driven by, and I'm searching for the next thing for myself. This translates to another thing that I feel like it's important for us to kind of consider, which is, we're in this profession, we're in this precipice of where we can sit on our laurels and go, wow, I've been successful. So and this message is for the chiropractor who's been around for a while, might have made an impact, but is that enough? Are you just going to sit on the glories of the past, or are we going to continue making changes in your life and seek out new challenges and prosperous experiences that could make a massive difference in people's lives? I spend a lot of time with my Tiger 21 members who are very successful in life. They're founders who've exited and have 8 and 9-figure net worth. What I'm always surprised by is that they're not just going into retirement, but most of them are still working on trying to figure out what's next for them. They don't need the money anymore. They have more money than they can spend and the next generation and the generation after that to spend. And so it's not about the money. For them, it's about legacy, because they know when they die, no one's really going to care about their legacy and their family. They want to maximize this life experience. They want to ensure what they do matters to them, not to anybody else. I draw on so much learning experience by being in the room with them. I'm a chair of Tiger 21 in Portugal and also in the global group. And I hear these conversations all the time, and they're wrestling with it too. So don't think that you as a practitioner have to get this solved. I'm talking to people who have 8, 9-figure net worth, some of the smartest people in the world who have success in their life, but they're not satisfied. And I don't think you should be satisfied. They need to figure out what's next. We have to adapt. We have to change. This is what I'm searching for. I'm being vulnerable here to say, I don't know. And if you listen to my Wabi Sabi podcast with Jim Carianis, I talk a lot about this lately because I am still searching to figure out what I want to do next as I grow, as I lean into different experiences. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be imperfect in this situation, but I do know that there's something around the corner for me. And I don't know what that is yet. I would say the same thing for all of us, especially in chiropractic in this profession. I can say this one thing, which is if we don't learn to adapt with AI, we're going to be in a very dangerous position of being irrelevant. I'm not saying we're irrelevant in the next 10 to 20 years. I'm talking about in the next 50 to 100 years. If we don't adapt, change the communication, the next generation is not going to carry the torch the way we hope to or want to. We have to do something about that. If you care for this profession, then you're going to need to do something about that. And that's also not just changing chiropractic, but be able to change the mindset of the society of what they see and how they feel and associate with chiropractic. We are in this moment of constantly trying to figure out what life is about. And your goal every day is to go, what's the life experience I want to create for myself and my family? What am I striving towards to make my life experience worth living? At the end of life, I want to be able to ask myself, did I live a great life? And I want to be able to answer, yes, I'm looking forward to having an amazing life. I have no regrets. And that's a very hard thing to come by, but that's what you should be striving for. That's my opinion. My main point today is that I want you to reflect on your past. If you're older like me, I want you to reflect on your past and go, have you created great success? Have you made impact on people's lives? And if it's yes, great. Are you continuing doing so? Or are you just going to sit on the past? If you're younger and this is the start of your life, it's like, what kind of impact do you want to make? And what avenues or goals, ambitions that you're going to make and actions that you're going to strive towards to fulfill that mission? So I hope this video has been helpful to guide and use that analogy of the purpose of not being stuck, because I've been stuck for a long time trying to figure out what my goals are. I've been stuck trying to figure out what my purpose is, but realizing that I may never find out, and I got to be okay with it. And when I'm okay with it, then I can continue working, doing the thing and executing rather than being worried about finding the purpose before I take action.